Welcome back everyone, another compilation of workshop disasters, custom estates, all the juicy stuff, so let's see what's up first. First up we've got a squeaky brake. So customers complaining this brake is squeaking. I give you 10 seconds to see if you can work out what the problem is. Fast forwarded. Right. I'll take these pads out and I'll show you exactly what the issue is, because it's not just contamination on this one. I'll take the spring out on one pad and then you should be able to see what the issue is. So if you can see this, I think I've got you in there. That's the pad and the rotor is this one here, and you can see that probably a third of that pad is doing absolutely nothing because the caliper is too high basically, so that's why it's not working particularly well. This is the other pad, so you can clearly see where the rotor's been hitting, and this part of the pad's been doing absolutely nothing. It's basically just floating across the top of the rotor, so clearly not set up particularly well, so let's have a look at that. Equally on the rotor you can see here that inner bit's not been used at all, so I'm going to obviously change the pads. I'm going to change this rotor at the same time, get it all right. So the issue is, as a lot of you probably already noticed, there's a random stack of washers in here. They should not be there. They should just be bolted straight onto this adapter. Without that, obviously that'll have the effect of dropping the back end of the caliper down, which would clear the pad. So take this off, get this off, get a new rotor on, get some new pads in, get it bedded in. Apart from that, it's actually working really well. It doesn't need bleeding or anything. It just needs fitting correctly. It's got a 160 on there at the moment. This is the right bracket. It actually clearly marks it on there, 160. So we'll get a new one fitted and get these rubbish spacers out. Get these out. I don't know why customer thought that was going to be a good idea. Whether they're there when he bought the bike, I don't know. But he has given me permission to fully roast him. But to be fair, the rest of the bike's in good shape. It's not even the original bolt. It's just some random thing. Get all that out. And that will bolt down there. And then it will be correct. I'll get a better bolt though, because that's not the original bolt. I'll just take this one out and give it a good clean first. Obviously we've got to realign it anyway, so no big deal. So you can see on this one, it is a 160 rotor only. So it's an IS mount where it bolts into the side of it here. And obviously the caliper mounts straight on there, like so. So we'll get this bolted into place. Like I say, I'll have to align it anyway. There's ceramic pistons on these white ones. These are the ones that have a habit of cracking. So if your brake's doing weird things, you might have a cracked piston. It's only the white ones. Very common. Nip it up so you can still move it side to side like this, because obviously we're going to align that with the disc when it goes in there. Just going to push these back in a little bit. Cush core tie lever for these. This works really, really well. Well, bead breaker actually. Just be really careful on ceramic ones. Really, really careful. You hear a cracking noise when you push these in. You killed it. Sorry. That's okay. So new pads in. Right. Yeah, potentially you could file those old pads flat, but unfortunately, time is money, as they say. And the squeaking out a squealy thing anyway, so put that clip back on, so that's that bit done. Now we just need to fit a rotor. And again, potentially you could sort of resurface this if you really wanted to, but we're not going to. It's all been wrong, so it's now going to be all right. New Shimano rotor. Just be careful not to touch it, obviously. Hold it just by this piece here. That'll go on there. They give you some new bolts as well. So I was complaining about instructions and people are saying, people don't have access to PDFs, etc. My issue is, guys, these are not instructions. All these are health and safety warnings in many, many different languages. There's pages and pages of it. It doesn't tell you how to fit them. There's no instructions here that shows do X, Y, Z. It tells you how when they're worn out, and that's about it. But this is all just health and safety stuff. There's no actual instructions. It tells you how to fit these. Go to the PDFs. So that's why I'm complaining about so many pieces of paper. Checked on Shimano's website, and apparently they are working towards a paperless society, so that's good news. And when you build a whole bike on like this much paper, it gets a little bit frustrating. Get these clips in. There's a top and a bottom to this. It'll basically little spring clips to stop the bolts rattling loose, but fortunately you didn't really see much of that. And it's got Loctite on them as well. Green Loctite, that's new. I'll just quickly bolt this on. This has got a clutch on it, so you can't over torque it. It just speeds up the initial threading in and then tighten it by hand. That clutch just slips out nowhere near its final torque. And just nip them up by hand. Okay, good. Right, let's get this back on the bike. I've got to have a look at the rest of the bike, so I'll give it a clean later on, but just to show you this brake just now. Right, so now I need to get this centered up and obviously make sure it's doing a full sweep of the rotor, which it definitely will. Loads of room on this one. There, all's good. It looks perfect. So I can't really show you now, but just obviously make sure the top of the rotor is being swept by the pads as you rotate it through there, and that is clearing every single last little bit of it. That's correct. Good. Squeeze your lever, get those pads settled down. Keep pumping it. That lever feels really nice. And no rubbing. Happy days. Right, I've got this bedded in on the sinter machine. So this one we are 160 Ice Tech 2 piston, so program B, rear wheel. Let's go. All done. The last thing to do is pull off your stupid orange sticker. Probably melted off now. That's warm. Alright, job done. Nice. Next up we've got this beautiful giant Propel. What a paint finish on this. Absolutely beautiful. It's like metallic. I don't know, it's all like mirror titanium metallic bronze finish. It's so nice. Really, really good. Really nice wheels on here as well. So this is in for a bar swap. So we got a longer stem and we got slightly wider bars. Wireless Di2, so that's not too much of a problem. Obviously brake hoses, however, fully internally routed, and they're probably almost certainly going to be too short. So probably end up running a complete new brake hose from front to back and to the fork as well, down to the front caliper. So what should be a fairly easy job could be fairly time consuming because of that. So let's get stuck in and see how much of a nightmare it's going to be. Could be easy. Might not be. I don't think the camera's doing it justice, but this paint just looks sensational, especially in the sunlight. Kind of is titanium, bronze kind of effect, but gloss, and it's just so nice. Very, very nice. No more matte black, it's banned. Right, let's see what we've got to do on this, because it could be a fairly chunky job, this one. The customer supplied new bar, new stem, and new bar tapes. This can all come off. Like I say, these shifters are wireless. We do have satellite shifters on here as well, so they'll need to be refitted to the new bar. But the only real concern is the brake hose and the length of that. So if there's this much spare in there, we might be okay. I doubt it though. So let's get some bits taken off, see what we got to deal with. Get this bar tape off. Actually, excuse the state of my floor. I've had some particularly dirty bikes in this week. You won't be surprised to hear. Not this one, this is immaculate. A very nice bike this is. Let's get these satellites off as well. Is that pretty much off? Just a little bit of cable on this one that goes to the shifter itself, but the rest of it's wireless to the radius, etc. Just the brake hoses. That just clips off there. I'll take the hoses out as well. This is where it could get interesting. That one. I was going to make this bike its whole video on itself, but in the end I've decided to put it into a compilation. And I'll just edit it fairly sharp. But let me know, do you prefer these compilation videos, or do you prefer the longer Saturday one bike videos, or are you happy with this sort of mixture? Because to be honest with you, it's way easier for me to do these compilations than it is full service videos. I do enjoy doing them, but the editing is hugely time consuming, so I do have a feeling that somewhere down the line the channel may pivot slightly towards these compilation videos rather than full on services. But let me know your thoughts on that one, and I will certainly take them on board. Decision's not made yet by any stretch of the imagination, but in a busy workshop it can be a lot easier just to do these. But I do have some interesting builds coming up over the next few weeks, which will definitely be getting filmed, don't worry. Right, to take these off. So the customer's telling me these new bars are not UCI compliant, too wide. I don't know, I just fit them, I'm just a grease monkey. Okay, step one. So to get these bars off, obviously we've got to cut this off, and they're already feeling very short. We'll cut as short as possible, which is going to be around about there. Just got to dodge the end of the barb, basically, and keep your nut. You need that. I can't recommend these Nipex cutters highly enough. They're absolutely awesome. Fantastic cut, beautiful job. Now we can take the bar off and the stem off and see what we've got left. I'm going to take this wheel off first. This is still underneath this fork. So we're going to take that off, and obviously the fork's going to fall out then. So I'll take the bar and stem off as one piece and just pull the hoses through, because there's quite good access in the stem actually, it's pretty much hollow. Comments are coming, aren't they? What a faff, get rim brakes, no internal. They're not going away, guys, honestly. I'm still convinced this manufacturer's putting us in a sort of interim time before wireless brakes arrive. So we're going to have to put up with this until they arrive. And then everything's easy, everyone's happy. My thoughts on it anyway. There's patents out there for wireless brakes, as I keep talking about. So one day they will be here. Actually, I'm going to take the bar off. It's just a bit tight, guys. Customer wants this back tomorrow. He's been chasing me today. He said the end of the week, and now all of a sudden it's tomorrow. So I better get cracking with it. All right, there you go. So there's the hoses going through there. We can just pull this out. We know this is the front one. Don't forget we're in the UK, guys. This is the front brake, and that's the rear. So the bar's off. This should come off a bit easier now. Right, there we go. So it's going to be all about these brake hoses, but I'm 99% short. These are way too short. I'm just going to set these off. Don't need to, I know, but I'm just going to. I'm just marking these hoses up just in case I get confused. This is my rear. I've got a little bit, but not very much at all. By the time I put it through here, and that's the front, I've got absolutely nothing. So we're almost certainly going to have to run new hoses on here. Let me just get the new bar and stem, throw it on and see how it looks, but I'm pretty sure these are going to be too short. This is a new stem. As I say, it's longer, so obviously we've got spaces to put in there, but you get the idea. And there's my new bar. So to be honest, I'm not even going to try, because there's just no way I'm going to get that through there with enough to terminate into the caliper. So we're going to run some new hoses through the whole bike, whole fork. Obviously we're going to bleed the system anyway because it's open. So we'll do that first. This is a box of BH90. This is what, 30 meters. So it's going to be fairly easy for me. So I'm going to run this obviously longer than it needs to be and then trim it at the end. But for you guys, it's going to be quite difficult if you did this to work out how much you're going to need. So it's probably more than you think. Let me just say that. So I'll cut a piece that's way longer than it needs to be, attach it to the end of that one, disconnect it from the caliper, attach it with a reverb barb, pull it through, do the same on the back, and hopefully it comes through the bottom bracket. Otherwise the job has got much bigger. Alright, let me cut a few pieces. There's two new bits. As I say, they're probably almost a foot longer than they need to be, but I'm going way longer than just risking it. It's better to be too long than be too short. So I can just pull this fork straight out now, to be honest. It's almost out as it is. Like this. There you go. Very well looked after. Immaculate grease in there. Perfect. So we need to disconnect this now at the caliper and then pull the new hose all the way through the fork, and that's the easy one. So take the pads out, because obviously we're going to be bleeding it anyway, so we need a bleed block in there, and then just disconnect this flare nut as well. And take that out. We're going to cut this off as well, because we need to connect to this hose now. Don't lose your nut. It's a rubber boot. You can either take it out or you can try and pull it through. It shouldn't be too difficult. And this is only mineral fluid. It's not dot fluid ruining your paint like somebody else does. So I'll connect that through. Getting covered in grease here. Should put an apron on really. But hey. So I'm going for an experiment on this one. I've read it on a Facebook group for all bike mechanics. Basically, people are saying they use a brake cable to pull these through when it's a situation like this. They're probably not long enough for the back one, but you can get tandem brake cables that will be long enough. So the idea is thread this through the new one. I mean, in theory, this should work really well. Certainly fits through the hose, no problem. And obviously the end of the cable stops there against the hose. So guess what? We're going to thread this through the old one and pull. So I'm just threading this through the old one now. So there's the join there, if you can see that. So now, in theory, I can just either push this or pull it. And it should only go one way. Pull that straight through. And it will, obviously. And there it is. And that should work really well. Like that. It's only going to work for you if you've got both ends of the hose open. If you're still connected to a caliper, obviously you can't do that. If you're running fresh hoses like this, that's actually going to work really well. The front one through. Obviously we've got to terminate this with a new barb and olive, but that's no problem. Let's do the back one though. This could be a make or break for this job. Well, this should be about 6 foot too long now, hopefully. Take the back pads out as well before we do that. Already got corrosion on this. I don't know how old this bike is. Possibly wireless. It can't be that old. I want a ratcheting flare nut spanner. That's what I need. 8mm. Add it to the list. I was quite impressed with that brake cable. I don't have one long enough for this, so I'm going to order a tandem one. Do the same job in the same situation. For this one, we'll use something slightly different. Take that out the caliper. So it's actually moving through the frame really easily. There's no resistance there at all, so it should be dead easy. I'm going to use this little reverb tool. Basically, it's got an opposite thread on it and it screws into each end of the hose, tightens them together and just pull it through as one piece. These work really well as well. And this just screws this way. Once it gets going, it just pulls them in nicely. Utterly impossible to keep in focus. I apologise. It works really well on a hydraulic hose. That's what it's designed for a reverb. It doesn't work very well on gear cables because of the longitudinal strand. It just pulls the liner out and detaches itself most of the time. Right, so they're basically joined as one, so now I can just pull that through the front and it'll just keep going. Fingers crossed. It'll be fine, don't worry. Key bit is to get it through this junction here without it falling to pieces. Help it around the bottom bracket. That's coming, no problem. And then straight out the top here. And there's the join there. So that was done. Easy. Keep pulling around about the right length for the caliper. About there. And you can see I've got all those in the world here, so it's good. So there's some foam on here, but it's a bit damaged, so I'll just replace that with a new piece. Oh, plenty. Just slide that over there and into the down tube. All this does is stop it. That rattling noise in your frame, that's all it's there for. And to keep the hose warm as well on cold days, obviously. I'm joking, when you shake it around, it doesn't rattle. That's all that does. So all I'll do now is just re-terminate this, connect it back to the caliper. I'll do the same on the front and put the fork back in, and then I'll come back to you when it's time for the bars. People keep asking me what this is though. It's basically one of these guys. I had 2 of these. Cut all this piece off, you don't need it, and it's just one of these now. So all that does is clamp the hose and stops the hose rotating when you're trying to tighten this, because what happens when you tighten this up, the hose just ends up twisting and twisting and twisting. So you clamp that there and tighten it up, it doesn't twist. That's all back together. Headset's back in, fork's obviously back in as well. Now we've just got to get through the stem and through the bar. So the bar can be a slightly challenging bit, so we'll do that next. I'm just going to throw the stem on. That's easy. Hose just come out the front like this. And it just literally goes on there like that. Stem's hollow. It's about 30mm longer than the old one, by the looks of it. That just lives on there. Obviously we've got to set the headset tension and whatnot, but again, I've covered that 1,000 times, so I'm not going to go into massive detail in this quick overview. So here's the two hoses. That's the front one there, and that's the back one there. Again, I'm in the UK. Front brake, rear brake. Sorry, not my rules. So the new bar, hoses obviously go through the back here where it joins the stem, and then they come out of the bar through these holes here underneath. I say this is a slightly challenging bit, but it's not too bad. You can use routing kits, etc., but I'll just use a pick. It's super easy. So this is my rear brake on this one. That one there. This is my rear hose. So what I'm going to do, shove it down there in the right general direction until I can see it in here. You probably can't see that, but I can. And you get a 90-degree pick here. Hook it into the end of the hose like that, and then guide it through. And push a bit more hose through as you're guiding it with that pick carefully. Like I say, it's much easier if you've got another pair of hands here to hold the bar, and then that will come through like that. And that's through there, not too difficult. The same again in the front, through the middle of the bar, and then hook it out on the other side. Guide it through and push it at the other end like that. There you go. And there's a case of manipulating these hoses through there while you're sort of pushing the bar towards the stem. And eventually it'll join the stem like that. It's just a case of getting the end of your stem on to hold it all together with a breather. Right, ain't going anywhere now. And then it's a case of getting everything aligned where you want it. I've took a load of pictures of how it used to be, so I'll just try and match that the best I can. So I'll just sort the headset out properly. Just getting this wheel aligned now with my laser, nice and straight. Pull this up 5.5 Newton meters. Done. Get her on the floor, get everything level. Right, as a massive stroke of luck, the customer was in the area. He's been in, he's agreed where he wants everything putting. We've tightened all this down, so the angle of the bar, position of the levers, that's all set by the customer, so don't shout at me if it's wrong. Customers settle on this. So now all we got to do is basically terminate these into the levers and wrap the bars. He's even told me where to put the satellite, so that's helped me out no end. So you can easily push a bit of this into the bar now. You've got probably a couple of inches spare now. So leave that in there, and in the stem, you can't see it. It just leaves you a bit of slack to get this right. So we need to just cut this. That's going to go to about there, and you've got all this slack here, so we've got plenty to play with on that one. Same on the back. You can hide a couple of inches in the bar, no problem. Terminate that there, and again we've got a little bit of spare there. Whatever you do, don't forget to fit these. I'll cut that now. I'm going 5mm longer, just to be on the safe side. Worst case scenario, I've got to run a new hose again. Terminate this, a new barb, Olive BH90. Super polite customer as well, so thank you very much, Mr. Customer. Not that I get many that are impolite. In fact, I don't think I'll get any, but it's always nice, isn't it, when someone's nice and polite. It's in. Bit of Shimano grease as they recommend. Pull it back into the bar, and you've got all the slack now to get that in there. That drops into the lever, and the super critical bit is getting this started straight, which can be quite challenging sometimes. Tying it on. Use your torque wrench if you want. I'm pretty comfortable with how tight these want to be, around about there. Obviously got to bleed the system, but until I get around to that, which will be tomorrow morning now, I'm just going to fold these hoods back. Otherwise you end up getting a big crease in the middle like this. That'll go overnight, but don't leave them back, fold it back if you can help it. You don't tend to twist it this end on a road bike, so you're okay with that clamp. That's good. Torque this up now, he's decided where he wants it. Good. And just to show you, remember I thought I put way too much hose on. That's all I had left, so it's a good job I added more than you think. So always add more than you think, because I thought I was about a foot too long there, and that's all that was left. So always add way more than you think if you're doing that. So that's all I'm going to cover today on this one. I'm going to come back tomorrow, get these bars wrapped and obviously bleed the brakes. But I just wanted to show you the bar swap on this one. Some of them are easy, some of them not so easy. This one was relatively straightforward, I'll be honest with you. Getting it through the bar can be challenging, through the frame, not too bad on Giants especially, they just flies through. And this nice hollow stem makes life a bit easier as well. So yeah, not too bad on that one. Right, what is next? Just before we look at this next one, quick pause to say a massive thanks to Sport and Leisure for sponsoring today's video. So we all know there's nothing worse than being right in the middle of a job, waiting for a part, supposed to be here today. Where is it? It's days away still. Sometimes when you order .co.uk, I found they're in Spain. I don't know how they get away with it, honestly. Anyway, that's why I use Sport and Leisure. They're based right here in the UK. Their stock levels are 100% live. says it's on the shelf and ready to go. Get your order in before 3 p.m. It's dispatched the very same day with free delivery on all UK orders. Plus next day delivery is only £2.50. I've got some stuff coming today. Fantastic. It's brilliant when you just need to crack on with the job. We've also updated the channel discount scheme for you. Head over to sportandleisure.com/BCR or scan this QR code on the screen right now. It will generate a 10% discount at checkout off your very first order. So if you're buying parts anyway, it's an easy way to save a bit of cash. The other links in the description below. And a massive thanks again to Sport and Leisure for continuing to support the channel. Right, let's have a look at this. You'll love this one. This is some kind of, I don't know, wheelie stunt bike. It's a bit of a weird contraption, I'll be honest with you, but yeah, it's kind of like a giant BMX with gears, I think. I don't know. But you'll all be happy because the rear brake is on the right hand side on this bike. Customer's obviously done that at a later date, and that is the problem, the brake. I'll show you. This bike even comes with built-in razor blades. Look at that. Come on guys, don't do that. Either use a cable tie gun or just cut them flush with the end like that and spin it out of the way. This is the best way of doing it. Anyway, I diverge. Let's get to the brake. So if you remember what I was saying earlier that rotor bolts very rarely come loose, well, let me show you this. That one is most definitely loose, extremely loose. So we've got to take the wheel off and see what damage it's done. Hopefully it's just loose bolts. Worst case scenario is it stripped the threads in the hub and then you've got big problems. So let's get this wheel out. I'll get these things off first. There's a nut lives inside here. And you need to put something through here to turn that as well. Like that. Chain's a bit long, isn't it? Here's the nuts that are being used, completely different. One's a nylock and one looks like it's part of a cone. Let's see if I've got something better than that as well. See what's going on here then. There's at least one bolt missing then. So I'll take them out and see if the hub looks damaged, but it might just be okay just to tighten them up hopefully. That one doesn't feel good, there's all the thread on that one there. That one's dead as well. So this one here looks a bit sus, it looks like it's full of aluminium. So I'll run a tap through here and get some new bolts on and see if it will torque up. Right, they all felt actually really good. There's a lot of debris come through there, but nothing that just sort of fell through. So I'll just give it a quick clean and put some new ones in. This is that Wearer kit here and a Wearer ratchet as well, so it's really fantastic for stuff like this. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but when you've got restricted access or you need a ratchet, this works really nicely. You get these in two different lengths. These are the longer ones. I use the driver on this, and normally you'll get to sort of 11, 12, absolutely no problem. So if we do get down to 11, 12 and it's spinning, we know the hub's dead. No problem there. Like that, that's knackered. Yeah. And that one's dead. That one's okay. Dead. There's 50% of them are grabbed on there, so clearly that's no use. So you can see from there, 50% of them are just completely stripped in the hub. So I'm going to take this out, I'm going to helicoil those and refit them, and that will be better than new. It'll be steel thread rather than aluminium into the hub. The other three held no problem whatsoever. So I'll whip that off, work out which one it was. So that one, that one, that one, that one's okay, that one's okay, and that one's actually 4 of them. So 4 out of 6 are dead on this one. So we're going to take that off and helicoil those. You could use a nut and bolt as well, potentially. You have to use the right grade of bolt. There is room on the back of this hub to do that with. But I think helicoil is going to be a better repair. And before you all shout, it wasn't my torque gun. I've done a million rotors with that. It stops probably about 2 Newton meters on that torque gun, the way I've set it up. And they stripped before they even achieved that, so it's probably completely dead. So just gotta remember which ones are okay. You see that's holding full torque there, no problem at all. Cranking that right down there. And that one, so they're okay, those two. There's loads of room on the back, as I say, to use a nut. But you'd have to use the correct grade bolts, and I don't have them. I've only got sort of normal steel bolts here. But there's loads of room to get that on there. Get your way to push for a weekend if you're desperate. I wouldn't recommend it really. So they're the 2 good ones. I'll leave them in so I don't forget. We'll do these 4. So this is an M5 helicoil kit. You get helicoil or you'll get time certs. Personally I use helicoil. What you need to do basically is use the supply drill bit, pump that through there, clears the threads out, tap it with a new tap, and then you thread this in, tap that piece out the end. It'll be a brand new steel thread into the aluminium hub, so obviously that steel thread will be stronger than the aluminium hub itself. You just got to be cautious on this, how much material you've got left on here. Could potentially get a little bit on the thin side, so I'll drill it through and see what it looks like. Just going to drill these through, it shouldn't take much. Nothing at all really. Done. Run the tap through then. If you're brave enough you could use it in a drill, but it's not proper practice. Basically takes it up to the next size thread, and then you're reducing it again with the insert. Clear it out every now and again. It is only aluminium though, so it cuts very, very easily. Repeat that for the rest of them. I'll just do the rest of these and then we'll continue with the inserts. Right, so they're all done, no problem. Just going to clean these threads through with some Propel, because we're going to be Loctiting these inserts in place. Not strictly necessary, but blow that through with an airline. Put a drop of red Loctite on the inside of these threads. This is obviously a permanent Loctite. Unless you've got a lot of heat on it, it ain't coming loose. Use this little tool, locates in the end, there's a little tab there that it holds onto while it winds it in. Then you knock that tab off, it locks it in place. And then you basically just screw it into the hub, or just bite into those threads that we've just done. Like that. And just stop when it's flush with the hub. Like that. That's basically repaired. A little bit more. Yeah. Let's do the rest of them. And then they give you another little tool here, basically a little bit of a punch, and it just knocks that tab off there. That's it. Right, so they're all done. Now we need to let this Loctite dry. 24 hours normally is a recommendation. And then we just fit the rotor with blue Loctite on new bolts. Perfect. Right, so that is all dry now. Get this rotor on. Again, more new bolts. I've got millions of these, don't worry. And then go more 6 Newton meters. Good. There's the back end of it there. So nothing protruding through, all looks good. Nice. Right, I'll get this back on the bike and see what we've got next. Next up, we've got to change this chain ring on this chain set. I've already done the service on this bike, but I've been waiting for a new chain ring, and that's just arrived, so I'm going to show you this one because it's something ever so slightly different, but the same. So I've already had this crank off because I've done the bottom bracket, so I've left it loose. You don't need to take this off to change your chain ring, but it does make life a bit easier. So I'll just quickly whip that back out again. So you can easily take these out and jiggle it around. It's just a little bit easier, I find, to take the whole thing off. Like that. Don't know about you guys, but I find buying chain rings is one of the more difficult things to buy. You've got so many different measurements, BCDs, obviously the chain ring size itself, speeds, etc, etc. So on this one, I know for a fact the customer doesn't give 2 hoots what chain ring I put on here, as long as it goes around and gets him to work and back. It's a commuter bike. He doesn't care what I put on here. So rather than trying to track down a actually quite difficult to find an expensive Shimano chain ring, on this one I bought this one, Lebical, I think that's how you pronounce this company. If you saw my review on their tool, like his little bearing puller, fantastic bit of kit. And by all accounts, these guys have got quite a good reputation. So I've ordered this in what I believe is the correct size, a 110 BCD and a 50 tooth. So this should hopefully drop on. It is made of steel. Not sure if this is steel or alloy, I'll check. So it's fractionally heavier, but like I say, the customer does not care about minor details like that. He just wants to save money. So I did look for these chain rings, and they're actually pretty difficult to find on this older Sora one. You can get them about £40–45. This was £18, so big saving if it'll fit. Let's have a look. It's ISO marked, so fills you with some hope, doesn't it? This is from Amazon, it's not from AliExpress, Amazon UK. So quality looks okay, actually. This is a shift pin. Basically, it's designed to sort of hook the chain and pull it up at certain points. You do have a little bit of a press tab here, so I guess that's going to do the same sort of job. So yeah, plausible. So that's got quite a big profile on it. This must be the inside though, because of these tabs that are sticking up to grab the chain. If you put it this way around here, you can't see them. I'm not going to do anything. This must be the inside. Quite often when you do buy chain rings that are not OEM, you'll find that this is like 1/10 of a millimetre too big and it doesn't fit onto the spider, and you end up filing it down. I've had to do that so many times, FSA especially, they're just the worst. Let's see how this fits. Like I say, this is a bit of an experiment, because I hate buying chain rings, and if I keep stuff like this in stock for Joe Blogs, then it will help me out as well. If you get one like this where it's spinning as you spin that, you're going to need another tool. I'm sure there's others available. This is a Shimano TLFC21. I've had this tool for many years. There's little prongs in here, basically hook inside the chainring bolt and just hold it while you break it loose. Once it's loose, it comes out very easily. But it just stops it spinning initially. So you just hold that into there and then turn your Allen key like that. It just breaks it loose. Make sure you've got no washers that fall out. Sometimes there's washers in between the chain rings as well. Early start today, I'm halfway through a big video as well. Whew. I'll get it done, don't worry. And then I'm on holiday. So, I have made a decision, guys. When I'm on holiday, I am not uploading videos. I just don't want to live on my phone for the entire holiday. It's not fair on me or my wife. So I'll be having a proper week off. Right, so that's the old chainring. And this allegedly will fit straight onto that crank. Let's have a look. So this, like I say, this tab here lives behind the crank arm, so you know where to put it. And that will drop straight onto. Yeah, it will fit. They're both black. The light's making it look a bit dodgy, but to me they look pretty good. So yeah, that looks really good actually. So I'll clean this one up. There's nothing. The wear on this one is okay. I think it lives most of its life on the large chainring. Put it back together, get on the bike and see how it shifts. For those that are interested, the weight of the old ring, 108 grams. What's left of it? And the new steel one, 240. Crikey, that's a big difference. It's more than I was expecting, but I guess being steel, it's going to last a bit longer as well. Okay, get it fitted. Well, I didn't expect it to be that much. I'll have to take one less sandwich to work, I guess. It looks okay though. These holes here are for optional chain guard or weight saving. You could do some drillium, couldn't you? I used to do back in the day, drill 1 million holes in components to save some weight. Not recommended. Right, let's go for a shift then. That's all back on. Up the front chainring. Beautiful. Straight back down. And all that. Great. So yeah, it works. It looks reasonable, but yeah, it's heavy, that's for sure. If you don't mind that and you want it to last a bit longer because it's steel, winner, winner. Not bad at all, actually. Things like Ultegra, where they've got profile chain rings, I mean, it'll probably technically still fit. Not this one, because you need a forearm one. You will get a normal chain ring on there, but the Ultegra chain rings are molded to match the crank profile, just for aesthetic reasons, I guess, really more than anything. But nothing stopping you just putting a normal chain ring on there. Many other manufacturers out there, TA, etc., etc. I just fancy giving this one a go, and yeah, works quite nicely. Right, done. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you maybe learned something. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. So I'll keep these compilations coming. You guys absolutely love them by the looks of it. My analytics are going through the roof for these videos, so I'll keep making them. Anyway, I'll see you again next week. Actually, I might not see you again next week. I'm on holiday, but I'll see you again very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.